Next. Yes, great. So that is going to create our key votes for us, which that shouldn't take much time to also get created.
Yeah, I think you got is that the completion in the upper right?
Yeah. Okay. So now you come down here, you scroll down here. Here, you come up here and click your key. Click on create. You create a new key. Here, you now give it a key name. I can just say my key. Just give it a name. And then you now click on create. So you can see that my key vote has been created. All I just need to do is to create the key. So once you do that, then you should be able to see here showing you what current version. So you can see automatically it populates that for you. Or in case if it doesn't, click on that and make sure you select that. And then you can now click on your save.
The hurry up and wait of Azure, right?
Yeah, I got a quick question about this. Now, say you have your template. You have a template that you use to deploy machines. Can you include this in your template so that, like, if I need to deploy 100 machines and I need every one of their OS drives to be added to a Key Vault resource group and just have the number, the names of them like sequentially go up. Can I do that? Is that possible in Azure, or is that something not scriptable? Is that scriptable, or is that something you do in a template? Like, so every time I choose a template to deploy a machine, I have like a custom template. It can automatically be encrypted and added to a Key Vault instance. Is that possible or not?
Yeah, I think as long as that particular virtual machine meets that particular requirement, then you should be able to create your key vote to the for that. Yeah, as long as it meets that requirement, because there's some certain requirement, like if probably peradventure you bring a virtual machine from your environment, for your on-prem environment, and you want to create this keyboard. So as long as that virtual machine meets that particular requirement, I think it should be able to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Your deployment is complete. Yeah, go to resources. So now I will go back to my resources here, fresh. And then you can see now this is the key vote that has been created for me. So if I come up here now and click on my virtual, my VM, yeah, this is my VM, click on that. And when you click on your disk, when you do that, so now you should be able to see the encryption. Can you see that? This is this, which, so this is what we have here. So if you click on your extension plus application, you can see this is the Azure encryption key that has been provisioned. You can see now. So what we need to do now is to confirm. So I will go back here. I will connect. Go back to my virtual machine. Go back to my virtual machine. Open that. Then connect. Yeah, click on connect. Download the RDP file. Yeah, I think it's opening on my other screen. Let me bring it back in. Yeah, and then I will supply my password to that VM. Yeah, and then okay. Okay, yes. Now I'm trying to log in into that particular VM. Yeah, so here I'll go to my search. Yeah, go to my search and then type BitLocker. Yeah, and then click on your manage BitLocker. So you can see now it said BitLocker encrypting. So it's trying to encrypt it. Why? Because the machine you can see is still processing. So yeah, I think now it's done now. So you can see now BitLocker is on now. So this we have been able to enable the Azure disk encryption on our virtual machine. So you can see now the BitLocker is on. And the reason why we do this is just to is just to encrypt all data at rest, just to make sure that your server environment or your machine is being secured if peradventure anything happen to that machine. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all for now. Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and share my video for my glasses here. Video of what I'm seeing in my glasses.
Oh,
there we go.
Wow.
Stephen, let's
You're
add that to
such
the
a
stage.
nerdy guy.
I am. So now I'm taking. It's really cool because you can use these for music. You can use these for asking questions about what you're seeing. So Paul, if your dog were on video, I can say, "What am I seeing?" and it can identify objects with AI. I think there's going to be a lot of uses for these. And then they're also my prescriptions. So when the tech becomes outdated, I can still wear them as glasses, and they're sunglasses too. So I purchased these over the last couple of weeks, and they came in this past week before I went to Seattle. I figured I might as well grab them and spend the week in Seattle playing around with them.
$3,000?
They were like under $600.
Wow.
With the prescription. So they're like $300.
That's a pair of glasses.
Yeah. And they're, sunglasses for $300. And then if you do prescriptions, and I have a progressive prescription, so I need to have a different prescription when I look up close versus computer versus far away. They have all that. And then they also have the ability to turn into sunglasses when I'm outside.
And they make you more handsome.
Thank you. And geeky, as Teresa likes to point out.
Well, I call myself a nerdy girl, so don't take it personal. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Did you get them at like a regular store? Because I know.
Great question. They're selling them through Sunglass Hut, which is owned by the same company that owns LensCrafters. So LensCrafters, I haven't purchased glasses from in probably 7 or 8 years. But as soon as I found out that they're one of the exclusive carriers of these Ray-Ban Meta Wayfarers, I thought, well, I'm going back to LensCrafter. Warby Parker has lost my business because of tech.
Ray and I got to get glasses. We're scheduled here soon, and he gets mad because he was like, "You can't do everything Dan does." So I'll be curious about this conversation when I share it with him later on this evening. But because like us about the Mac, he was like, "You can't have everything Dan has." Yeah. pretty
Paul,
cool.
I know you had some things from a Copilot perspective too. Did you want to share those, or?
So I was wondering if people want to see everywhere where Copilot is, or should I just start off in teams? Do you want to see everywhere that Copilot is? What's your preference? Audience, what would you like?
Everywhere.
Okay, let's do it then.
I would say everywhere, and then if you want to finish up with teams,
Yep,
teams is
entire
probably the
screen.
most popular for me. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I just been preparing an article on a blog post on that as well.
there we go, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm assuming you can see you can see Excel at the moment?
Yep.
Okay, so the places where I found Copilot. So the natural one is if I go into Outlook, and here is a fake email, I can summarize my email there. But also if I compose an email, it can help me to compose it and edit stuff as well. So that's where you're going to find it in Outlook. Microsoft Word, quite easy. We've got this, which gives you a few more choices. And here, it's got another choice. So I think I'm going to do this the other way around. So yeah, if I click on this button here, this allows me to generate text in Microsoft Word as well. Excel is different. With Excel, you need to have your data inside a table. You must have your document in SharePoint or OneDrive, and you must have auto save on, and you must have your cursor inside before the Copilot button will work. So if I click on Copilot here, it's going to say, what's going on? So I have to come back, click in the data, and Copilot is available here. Playing around with it today, it's really interesting once you start getting into pivot tables and ask it to produce charts. It was really quite nice how using it in Excel. PowerPoint, and I think, Lance, this is something I've learned from you this week. PowerPoint was really interesting. So what I could do is, there's the button at the top. So with Copilot, depending on where you are, you could say, give me a deck on, and depending where you are, if you press the /, it's going to start accessing files in SharePoint. So I'm going to say, give me a presentation on this Microsoft Word document, and I click it through. It's now going to that document, and let's see what mood Copilot is in. It's drafting a presentation. It sounds like it looks like it's doing it. This is the bit where it's flirting with me. It's still deciding. Am I going to, it looks like it's really going to give me a presentation. It's got to the conclusion, 50%. Come on now. Are you going to come through and produce the deck? And it looks like, come on, adding speaker notes. I didn't want notes, but okay, I'll take them. So if I now open up my presentation, slideshow from the beginning. This was a Microsoft Word document, and it's changed it into a PowerPoint deck. And that's something I picked up from Lance when you said to access. Did I do that right, Lance?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Is that RAG? I think, or something, whatever you.
No, that's kind of it. Yeah, that's kind of it. In a
that's another
sense, in the back end, yeah, you're accessing data that you're grounding.
Yeah.
And which is a document. RAG can be expanded to, like, you could say, like, I want to do it for this whole directory of documents.
Okay.
So say you had like a whole bunch of content on Copilot in a directory in SharePoint.
Yeah.
You can say summarize all the documents in that. Summarize the documents in that directory. Now, again, there's a limitation the Copilot has of
Yes.
I think it's 50,000 words and 15 pages per document. But again, if you had if you had a bunch of blog posts that you posted in there or something like that, or just little product sheets or something like that, and you say, I got all these product sheets in this directory. Go to this directory, summarize the documents in here, and make a PowerPoint deck based on the summary of these documents. Yeah.
Well, I haven't got that set up at the moment, but maybe we can catch up on that later. The thing I like is it's really a little bit naff, the presentation. So just to make it more interesting, I would probably click on the designer button. And once I start clicking on the designer button, it's going to start making one or two slightly nicer designs from that presentation. My friends, that is PowerPoint.
Yeah, in PowerPoint too, what I did too is like I get my document, say there was something it kind of missed, like something I wanted it to expand on. I'd go click on the slide and say, can you take the points in this slide and create new slides, expanding the detail these particular points of this slide. So you can say, take the data in this slide, expand on it, and then make a new slide in between there, and it'll actually insert the slide.
Wow.
So it's pretty nice. So you can actually, you can still build on it, and that's kind of chain of thought, or the tree of, the tree type of prompting, where you take the prompts and you build on them, and you get the first prompt. You did the one shot. You said, you provide an example. Here's the document. I want you to create a deck. That's a one shot Copilot prompt. So you can take that and say, okay, take this, summarize this data, and then take it and then build it, or expand on it, please. Go into this web page or go into something like that, and then make some extra slides. And so you can take it from there, and it's pretty neat. I've built a couple of presentations and stuff from that, doing that. It's just something where you got to play and just got to kind of get used to figuring out how it's going to give you the best answer. And you're not going to get the best answer every time, but I think a lot of people think it's just going to be one of the zero shot things where it kind of knows everything. It really doesn't. You have to really tell it what you want it to do and how you want it to do it. And once you figure out how to do that, you'll be able to make your prompts shorter and shorter. So a lot of my prompts are like a paragraph almost. I mean, I have like 500-600 words in my prompts, some of them, and that's what gets me the data I need. Though it makes it really robust. So that detail that you can give, examples that you can give, help prompt it, help it do better. It just, and it'll keep learning from you. So the more you do it, the less you'll have to do it, because it'll remember your prompts. You have the prompt list, and you can pull those prompts and say, based on this answer, can you make this on this other topic? Do it. So it's pretty cool.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. I was just literally going to play around because we've only got a few minutes left now in this particular session. But we've got OneNote. So it's not something I've used too much, but again, Copilot's at the top there. I won't go into any prompts on that because you can play around with that. Dan, are you going to come back to Microsoft Forms, or did you want me to show them where it is?
You're welcome to show.
Okay. So I'm quickly going to go into office.com, and Microsoft Forms is pretty cool. And I've just opened up Microsoft Forms. I've asked for a new form, and it's already come up on the front screen, and I can type in what type of form. It's not going to be perfect, but it's certainly going to save you a lot of legwork.
I used this up in Canada and just asked it the information I wanted to gather. And like you said, it wasn't perfect, but it was the scaffolding or the framework for just making like a couple, slight adjustments as opposed to having to start from the beginning.
And that's another prompt technique that you can use is fixing your prompt, not fixing it, but I guess or adjusting them to where, okay, it didn't come out perfect, but then I add something in there. Oh, it actually got it this time. So I've done that a few times, and it's a little technique that you can do, adjusting the prompt to get. That's the whole thing about prompt engineering is learning how to actually take your prompt and make it better as you teach it. and as it gets better, it learns more quickly.
Bless
And
you.
once you have the chain of thought, a lot of times I think I like the chain of thought. I'd like to ask Copilot to explain to me how it gets its answer. Like, tell me how you're doing this, and they'll go out and tell you how it did it, and then you can find the actual where if you say, okay, it didn't do this step. It's like, I need you to add this step to your chain of thought, and then it'll come up with your answer better.
That's brilliant. I think what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm not going to go to the other bits of software. I'm just going to read out where the other ones are so we can then come back to Microsoft Teams. So we've got Power Automate, where we can ask Copilot to generate our workflows. But we've also got SharePoint, where you go into your menu, you go into the ellipsis, you go into Integrate, and then in the drop-down menu, you've got Power Automate mentioned there as well. We've got Whiteboard, we've got Loop, we've got Microsoft Stream, and then you've got the original, which would be Copilot itself, where we can actually use Copilot, not for a particular piece of software, but now Copilot's in effect talking to the whole of our ecosystem. And again, I could put the / inside Copilot, and now it's saying, what am I looking for? People, files, meetings, emails. It's pretty good now. I can't imagine how good it will be in the next 2 or 3 months, because things are not taking that long anymore. The final place I wanted to show you was Microsoft Teams. So I had a training session on Microsoft To Do, which Teresa is extremely familiar with. So this is the meeting here. And I can go into, at the top, it says recap. And I've got it here. But now I've gone into the meeting. Because I've used Copilot, I can go back even though the meeting has finished. And here's Copilot on the side. And I can say, who was the trainer? And let's see if it recognizes that it was me. So the meeting's finished. But I can still interrogate what happened in the meeting, what were the key items, and subject to your permissions, if your members of staff have Copilot and the correct permissions, they can also interrogate the meeting, even though they did not attend. I'm guessing one thing Copilot might do is make us a little bit antisocial, because I don't even need to speak to somebody. I can just say, what happened at the meeting? I don't want to talk to anybody. And it's really good because you can ask, do you think anything was forgotten? Did you think anybody was dominating the meeting? Were any actions assigned without any dates? Once you get your prompts correct, it's going to change the way that many of us attend our meetings.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. I also mentioned this to you, Paul. Microsoft is working on speaker attribution as well as facial attribution. This is
facial as well. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah. So this is I learned that these are not tied together, even though you have to set up your voice before you set up your face.
Yes.
And right now it's in Teams rooms, not in the Teams client. But you can imagine what this would do if, Paul, let's say you and I are on the same computer. Copilot would understand only who's logged in. So if it's you, it would think anything I said was you, even though people in the meeting knew, maybe by our voice or being familiar with us, who was talking. Speaker attribution and the facial would give us additional capabilities from a standpoint of Copilot understanding the context of two people being, or more than two people being in a room together. So I wanted to share that too, if you haven't discovered that. You do have to set it up in the tenant. So there's a couple flags you have to put in the packet.
There's that movie with Tom Cruise, Minority Report.
Yeah.
When you see all the technology he has. And that looks a bit silly now compared to what we actually have today. You look at it, and it's just him throwing things around the screen. I mean, I've actually took my mobile phone, took a photograph of a 25-year-old air conditioning unit, and started to ask ChatGPT, where is the handbook? Find me a handbook for this air conditioning unit. And it was like close, very close to getting it for me. It's I'm excited, but I just don't know what the human impact of all this is going to be yet. No, does anybody know?
Just to add on to that, they have little apps now. If your plant don't look well, you can just take on your phone, just take a picture of your plant, and it tells you what plant it is and what you need to do to bring it back to life. I've been in my garden. I've been in my garden this morning.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
can I share something real quick?
Sure.
I was wondering if it can do the same with relationships.
Did you give up Morph?
I don't know which one it's going to do here. Let's see.
While he's looking for that, you'll be interested, Paul.
Yes.
I put up a couple of days ago,
There you go, Lance.
because Copilot is now available in Outlook Classic and New Outlook, and they are slightly different. So yeah, take a look at that. I have it up on my screen if we have time, but
Okay, that's useful
Yeah.
to know. Although
That's amazing. Yeah.
you'll just use any excuse to bring this new outlook into a conversation, won't you? Any excuse.
Real quickly, I wanted to show some of the stuff I've been studying lately with prompting itself. As you can see here, I have a document that I was doing and using for this. Outdoor, you have a situation, you have outdoor event crossings for event planning. So, and the actual prompt, this part here is the actual prompt part that you want to plug into the chat or the Copilot. So it says, as an event planner, I'm organizing an outdoor event and need to take the necessary precautions to ensure the safety of attendees. This event is scheduled to take place at location. Can you provide insights, potential risks, and factors due to the weather forecast, previous event experiences, and event intent? So that stuff that's in the parentheses is the data that you want to give it. And it gives you some, these are kind of how you started coordinating your prompts to get the answers that you need and how to actually craft them. So what I would do is I would take this example and I'd fill in the data like I needed. Whether I'd find what I needed to find. There was also some technical stuff in here for technical support and things like that. And put it in ChatGPT, I put it into Gemini, and I put it into Copilot, and I would see a Copilot web version, and I would see how it would approach it. And that's something I think you all should maybe try to do with it. And when you, like I said, when you're doing different ones, you're playing a virtual reality event for the Azure and AI Show, and I'm looking for a recommendation VR experience that would be engaged and immersive for attendees. The event date, location, expected number of attendees. What can you buy for VR experience? Something like this or this. So, see how detailed these prompts are. They're not just one sentence prompts. And you actually tell it. You're actually telling it, I'm planning an event, or I'm an event planner, or I am a customer service person. Event Wi-Fi troubles. I'm currently experiencing issues with Wi-Fi at my event. Attendees are having trouble connecting. I've tried previous solutions, but these issue persists. What is available solutions? And then it takes into place the meeting location, the number of attendees, and give it. So you're giving examples. You're giving data to it, and it's going to give you a crafted answer. These aren't the answers, but this tells you what ChatGPT will do, how to enhance the AI to make it work better for you. So
I agree with that, because I could share with you that because I want ChatGPT or whatever AI solution that I use, that the more that I give it, the more that it's going to sound like me and generate my thought process versus something that doesn't sound like me, or adding more information that I don't know. I just find that the more that I provide it and take the time to give it, the better I'm going to be pleased with it, versus if I give it a short prompt, that I feel like that I'm working it more and more.
And it's gonna work better for you if you tailor it to how you want it to answer. So, like the chain of thought programming is when you ask it something, ask it to not just give you the answer, but how it got to the answer. So you can see how the AI is actually getting the answer. And then if it's not the way you want it to think, say, that's not the way I come to the answer. Here is how I came to the answer myself. And please incorporate that in my next prompt or my next answer. Can you redo this same equation or the same problem with the way that I think about it and have it learn from you? And then from that, it'll take it and it'll be able to do it better for you, and it'll be able to prompt. You say, based on our past conversations, can you help me with this problem? Can you do this? So,
sorry.
Paul, I will share with you, as a content creator, I find that even, coming up with titles, or sometimes I'll say, here's my content, give me a nice intro for it. And sometimes it does not get it right. But when I actually say, I'm kind of thinking this as my introduction and kind of give it an example, and then I feel like it refines it better. But I have to tell it what I'm thinking. If I leave it generic and say, okay, look at my content and give me a good introduction or exertion, and I find that it does not do well because it's not given the tone or the thought process of what I'm thinking. But if I give it an example of what I'm thinking, that I want, then it does better.
Yeah, that's called few-shot programming or one-shot programming. Or prompting, free-shot prompting or one-shot prompting. And actually, Teresa, you might want to check out Baird AI or Bard AI.
Is it free?
It might be. These are all
Bard's Google, right?
Yeah, I think Bard's part of Google, but yeah, I think so. I think it's probably a free version of it, but it's designed to facilitate human-like interactions. So you might be able to give more personalized response. So there's not just the big three. I mean, there's with Diablo here. We got
I'll tell you another reason why I might, if you can give me a copy of that list of where you got that from, because I'll tell you why. Sometimes I feel like ChatGPT, it's the same wording, same words all the time. It was funny because I went onto somebody's blog post and I said, this is ChatGPT, because it's the same language, right?
Yeah.
And to the point where I've been wanting to experiment with some others just because I want the language to change a little.
I don't think it's the same language.
Well, it's the same approach to the jargon, the way it sounds. It's like, you get your Google, it feels the same. Like, when you look at Google and then you look up, and really what she's saying, when you try to do the same prompt, do it in ChatGPT and then do it in Copilot and then do it in Gemini. And you will see three totally different ways it approaches the same exact prompt. You will see the wording differently. You will see it actually talk to you differently. And you will see it actually do it different ways. And then in Copilot, choose the creative, the balanced, and the precise, and you'll get different answers there with the same exact prompt. And it's interesting.
What I was trying to suggest is maybe the people who are writing the prompts are writing prompts that are so basic that they've not given ChatGPT much to work with. So I think, in theory, we shouldn't see two pieces of content being the same unless you're being extremely lazy with your prompt. And I saw a post last week on LinkedIn, and the woman said, I'm now receiving CVs and covering letters where the language is exactly the same. That's because the person hasn't edited their prompt or edited the response that ChatGPT is giving it.
I still have to say, though, Paul, there's times where I'm pretty detailed in my prompts, and there's certain words that I just have to say, exclude saying this word, exclude saying this, using this word, because I could tell you I have quite a bit in there that is just certain words they use over and over, and I'm so over it. you know.
Yeah, well,
Right.
like I just want to show. I don't know if you can see. Can you see my? You can't see the.
But I was going to say that I was I had both of my screens up, Classic and New Outlook, because I was testing it, both of them up with the Copilot, and I put the same prompt in, and I definitely got different, verbiage. It was something simple. I was just responding to an email, and I had both of them up and ran it, and I got different answers. The other thing that I find in with New Outlook and Classic, they have the draft coach. What I don't understand is the draft coach is awesome. I love the suggestions that it gives. Then why not you push out my draft based on the coach? Right? So I said, interesting. So I went on and kept what Copilot provided, and then I ran the coach, and it gave suggestions, and I'm like, well, then why didn't you do that from the start? So that was something.
It's part of
I
it's
gave
trying to
them that
learn.
feedback.
I think that's part of it, trying to learn how you type or how you approach it or how you what you like. I think as it gets better, it will stop saying it's a draft. It'll start actually plugging it in for you. It's going to get faster and faster. Again, it's like any algorithm or like any other search engine. When you start on it, it doesn't know you yet. It doesn't know how you search. Doesn't know how you. So as you build it, as you teach it, it's going to get better. And as these models get better and bigger and more capable of how people in general think, it's going to be able to hone in on everyone.
One of the things that I've been testing in Outlook is I create rules to move certain newsletters and stuff into a folder. And even at Copilot level, at the home screen, I wanted to actually look in that folder and tell me, the latest emails, or give me a summary from that folder. It's been a hit or miss. I can't say confident right now that if it's working or not, but I want to be able to move all these newsletters because once a week I go through and read all my newsletters or go through them. I want to be able to have them sitting there and then have a prompt to say, just tell me what's going on from that point, or being able to say anything that's based on this particular category. Anything's tagged on this category, give me a summary of that, because again, when it comes to my emails, I tag things with categories and have them move to a folder because I don't want it to flood the folder. A good example, again, with the Microsoft DL distribution list, so much stuff comes in daily that I just want a quick summary of what's going on. So I know, because I can always click on the little number if I want to read the details, right? But I don't need to see everything. And so I've been testing that out.
And have you tried it to see if it does any different on the Outlook web app version? Because it might be indexed more quickly than on the desktop version. Okay. Also, try that. If you go to Copilot Studio, you can see if there's a special connector for Outlook that will say, you can tell it to say, I want you to index this folder weekly, or index this folder every week, or daily, or whenever you want. You say, use this as your grounding of your data that you want indexed. It specifically say that, and then Copilot will look in that, and when you're in Outlook, it'll say.
And what is that again? Because that sounds interesting. What is that again?
It's Copilot Studio. If you got the Copilot for the licensed version of it, you get Copilot Studio. It's copilotstudio.microsoft.com, and it allows you to create custom Copilots that lets you ground to specific things. So you can right out of the box. Right out of the box.
Is it really easy? Is it really easy to do?
It's super easy.
It's super easy.
Okay, because I've been ignoring that. I've been ignoring that. I might have to really dive
That's
into that now.
that's yeah.
I think the best thing about Copilot Studio is it might get Teresa to stop talking about the new Outlook. I think
Yeah.
You can forget that, Paul.
Should we talk about the Copilot Studio then?
Yeah.
You're just now your classic is just now getting Copilot. So in the last week.
yeah, let's not.
Paul and I become buddies now that we're new versus no, what is it? The real Outlook versus the Outlook.
You just have to say designer to we can get her to change the subject.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I played for designer an hour trying to get one picture to come out like I needed it to, and it kept switching like one little detail like all the way around, and I was like prompting it in different ways.
Probably better to ChatGPT now. Sorry.
You guys are talking about Microsoft Designer. Let me give you a heads up. So I've been using Designer almost a year now, right? And Paul, I don't know if you use Microsoft Designer for the audit. Yeah. I use it almost daily. It comes up with a lot of my blog posts, images, and posts or whatever. So I end up, and you know that it's not tied to our work in school. You have your own Outlook.com. So what I didn't realize or forgotten that all the images are stored on that OneDrive. So I got this prompt says, hey, you're halfway out of storage, out of space. And I'm like, how can that be? And when I went sometimes it takes several prompts. You get images. This is with the image creator, as well as with the Microsoft Designer. And you may go in and ask for several pictures, and it might take several tries to get it right. Well, it saved all of them. And so what happens is when I find the one that I like, or even the ones I said, hey, I may want to use later, that I would download it. Well, so I have all these duplicates. I had over 1,500 images that was taking up space. And so just keep that in mind. That is on the Outlook, and you can't get to your OneDrive from here, but it's stored all that stuff in your OneDrive. And that's the only thing, because I don't use that free Outlook.com for nothing other than me doing these prompts. And Dan, if you go back one, because actually I use the other one more than this one.
Oh, hang on, I got to see this. Oh man, it's in a separate tab, I'm hoping.
Yeah, so I use the creator images one the most. Go back to the home page. Come down, that one, image creator. So I use that all the time, and I put my prompts in there, and I come up with images, a lot like what I see you do, Paul. And but whenever you get the first one, like I said, it may take a couple tries to get what you want. It's all saved in your OneDrive. 1,500 images at that point when I discovered it, in the last 10 months or so.
Why would they do that?
Well, and the feedback that I gave them was, if I didn't want them, I don't save it. Or there's been times where there was something I was like, oh, I could use this image later on, and I forget to download it, and I have it. So but just know that all 4 of those are saved in your OneDrive. And if you click on one, go ahead and click on one, Dan. Click on one. And when you download, well, that's downloading it to your local drive. And so that's the one that I wanted to keep. But it's also moved all the other ones to OneDrive. And then if you take that same image and then pull it into Designer, you now have another set. So again, 1,500 images.
And I think the folder is called apps and then designer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I put in the chat.
So
prompt.
yeah.
Wow.
So Dan, how many you have?
This is an account I don't use very often, so
Mhm.
I think there's like
What's it
looks
under?
like
It's
8
under what? Office Designer app. Okay,
apps, Office Designer app, and then
So again, you know, it's on my list to do a video on, because I don't people realize your storage is almost full.
yeah,
So people don't realize that, because that's the message I received,
1 second.
that I and it was all images.
OneDrive. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, in the chat, I put in a
1
prompt.
second. I'm just trying to get the volume down.
Yeah. So like I said, I knew that I wasn't sure if they were storing all the images, like the ones that you decide that you don't want. I could see them storing the ones that you choose.
Right.
But why even do that if you hit the download? If I hit the download, it's going to my local. I'm using it, I'm editing it, or doing whatever with it. But yeah, 1,500 images, Dan. So you're not surprised with that, are you?
No. I ran out of storage with one of my accounts, and Designer didn't tell me that it was storage. It just kept on saying it was having an error. So I gave that feedback to the team too, that it should say that I'm out of OneDrive storage, not that there's an error.
Well, and the other thing is too, when you're in your My Projects or in Designer, that give me easy access to get to OneDrive.
Exactly.
Right? Because now I can monitor that and make a decision on what I want saved or not.
Right.
And because the images that you create with Image Creator is not in the Designer, you know, because you see those in your left navigation, but you don't see the Image Creator's images in the actual Designer platform. But I like I said, I use it regularly, almost daily.
Maybe we should have a session on images one Saturday.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Where do you go and get your images?
Mine are ChatGPT.
Do you? And that's ChatGPT, because you don't get images with ChatGPT 3.5.
No,
Yeah.
I've used ChatGPT since I got the upgraded version. I've used ChatGPT every day, sometimes just out of curiosity as to what it can do. And I think, following Lance's suggestion, I think what I am going to do is put the same prompt into all the different versions I have, just to see how they react. That sounds like a really, and I think the prompt would need to be not a simple prompt, but a slightly more detailed prompt.
Well, I have an example I put in the chat.
Yeah.
That is that, you know, I mean, for this show, we could say we have, as a marketing expert, I need to find the most effective hashtags for our upcoming social media campaign. Our main product is the Azure and AI Show. We are targeting, with the IT community or the adoption community. The main goals of our campaign is to get more viewers. Can you help me identify help me identify a number of hashtags, relevant and popular hashtags for our source for our media parts, so we get the maximum engagement of users? So it could actually, this prompt could actually, I would actually stick this in each of those and see what hashtags it comes up with. You know, we fill in the stuff in the brackets, you fill in with the details. There's the weighted words. They're called the weighted values in the prompt. So you actually put the weighted values in there, put the details, and then and you can list those as campaign goals. It could be listing, our first goal is to get more readership. Second goal is to have more followers. Third goal is to have more exposure. You know, so you can list those goals, and then you know, if you put and then say, can you post popular and relevant hashtags under, you know, just make it that kind of detailed prompt, and I guarantee you'll start getting more better hashtags. I've had Gemini take one of my YouTube videos that I had transcribed in through Stream. I put the transcription in there, and I actually told it to make me a LinkedIn blog post with the hashtags that I needed to make it have maximum effect. And I got like 500 more impressions out of it with the hashtags it used than what I usually do. And then I started taking that and I started using that a little more with mine. So like we were trying to promote this whole thing. This might be an effective tool to kind of use the chat GPT.
Oh yeah.
Hey Dan, I posted
Yeah.
my YouTube channel. Go navigate to my YouTube channel because I was going to share.
Do I still have my window shared?
I put it in the chat and streams. But the one that I just did on the legacy of
Not available.
of Outlook.
The link is not available, Teresa.
Oh, because I put .com on there. Take the .com off. And it's I'm missing an E. I got all kind of typos.
Track creations for
E. No .com. One of the things I set up here one evening and had a very detailed prompt, and actually did it in Copilot. I did it in Copilot Word, and I last week was Mother's Day, and I wanted to acknowledge classic Outlook, Paul.
Well,
And yes, see, classic Outlook.
The mother of new Outlook.
Yes, the matriarch of Outlook. That's what I had in mind. And and what I did was I was very detailed in how I wanted to acknowledge it. There was some information that I needed to know about Outlook's history, and I kind of had it walk me through. And I could tell you, Microsoft Word Copilot gave me a great storyline. And that's where that video came from. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I won't play it, but I always share my screen, present, share screen.
And Teresa, I think you've got presenter rights or producer rights.
Yeah, I think I do.
Cool.
There it is.
There we go.
The storyline that this gave, I was actually blown away. I was just really blown away with the history that it gave me. What it did is just prevented me from going from multiple. I always call it website hopping to collect this information, but a lot of the information came right out of Word, and then I just put the images and stuff together. And Paul, just so you know, I didn't forget new Outlook at the end. just for you. Yes. Right there. There it is. The newest member of Outlook.
Yeah.
So, but the point is that I actually used. I said, let me just give it a test. I was just testing out Copilot, and I knew what my storyline and what I wanted, and I probably gave it, I don't know how many words, but I gave it a lot. I didn't max out though, and because I think it's 2,000 words or something.
Yeah.
And but I got really detailed, and it gave me a lot of the information that I was looking for, because I wanted the dates, I wanted some of that history.
Sorry, did you say the output in Word in Copilot is 2,000 words? Roughly.
I think it's 2,000 characters. Are you talking about characters?
No, I'm
right,
talking about the output.
Mm-hmm.
The output can be more than 2,000.
Because the output of ChatGPT is 4,000 characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did a really great job. It got, I still had to fact check it. I still had to add a little bit more, but that first draft was a great start. And like I said, let me just, I'm going to test it out. It's here. Let's let me see what you can do. And I got a product out of it. So
Can I go now? Can I go next? Ben?
Yeah.
yeah,
okay,
I'm trying to stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
There it is. And wait, before you go, Lance. So, Paul, you have a lot of great admin posts out on LinkedIn. I read them; they're awesome, by the way. Try one of them in Word. Use Copilot and see what you come up with.
Problem I've got is Christina does a lot of the posts for me. She always checks with me, but also I'm 51 and I'm worried I might die before the output comes out of Microsoft Word. Whereas ChatGPT is a lot quicker.
Test it.
I've
Please
tested
test
it. It's always.
I did all my blog posts this week in using three ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot, and putting the answers, combining all the best stuff from each one with the same prompt to my answer.
Copilot. I'm going to have to do a test, but when I ask Copilot in Microsoft Word to produce content,
it did. Yeah, Copilot's not good at content. Gemini's the best. Gemini's the best. I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so I took our question. As marketing expert, I need to find the most effective hashtags for our company social media campaign. Our main product is Azure and AI Show live stream, which we are targeting technical social media users. The main goals of our campaign are have more viewership, gain more followers, promote our live stream platform, StreamYard. Can you help me identify the 5 most relevant popular hashtags for our social media posts to maximize engagement reach? Okay, Copilot says use Azure AI, TechStream Live, AI Community, StreamYard, and DevTech Live, and then explains a little bit. And this is the web version. This is the web version I'm using. I'm using the creative on the ChatGPT for it. So these hashtags are designed. It just gives a little kind of simple thing, simple explanation. Okay, so I went to ChatGPT, posed the same exact question. It came up with a little different answer. It said maximize engagement, reach your Azure, choose AI, Azure, live stream, tech talk, and cloud computing. And it basically kept a simple answer. And so next we got 2 different kind of answers with it, kind of different little hashtags you can use. And then Gemini posed the same exact one. And here's the answer I got from it. Hashtags for your Azure and AI live show campaigns. And it gave me Azure AI live stream, tech talk, or tech community, and StreamYard. But then it goes on and says bonus hashtags you can use. And then maximizing engagement, how to actually make your post really get there in the long run. Rotate your hashtags, track performance, the community engagement, targeted hashtags, and actually gives you a little more tips. I've noticed
also lets you look at how many people are following a hashtag. So if you use something very unique, you don't have a lot of followers. If you use something like innovation, there's over, I think it was like 25 or 35 million.
Yeah, again, I wanted to have more viewership. But again, if I went in more detail about our show, or if I had more details about the show, I could explain that in the prompt, saying, that I want more stuff here, that it'll probably give me a better answer. But just from that, the same exact prompt in all 3, it gave me completely different answers.
True.
And I've noticed that that's why I'm liking Gemini right now, because Gemini seems to be giving the most creative answers from all 3 of them. So like my rag post, I took information from this post for my rag post, and also for Copilot, I had my chats. I had the rag chats. I can't find them right now, but ChatGPT, I had my rag method in AI, and it did similar things. But I took data from this. I took data from Gemini and Copilot and put them all together for my blog post that I did, and it's all vetted. It's all vetted information, and actually Copilot actually gave me the references, and Gemini gives you references too if you ask for it. So it's like, it really it really does make it a lot more fun to do them. And when I'm actually studying this stuff, and then I want to try to teach it, it kind of feels good to be able to put in what I want to think, what I want to get out of it, and it kind of tells me that my brain can connect with it. Be like, oh yeah, that's the kind of blog post I want, and then it's something I can understand and I can convey a lot better. Like you said, Teresa, with it, you're doing it the way you want to hear it, the way you want to see it, the way you want to read it. And so, like I said,
the only thing is that I think it's really tricky with social media posts. I did a post on LinkedIn where I did an executive assistant in the form of a Lego outfit. I got 50 times more engagement on this stupid picture than any other post I've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you can sit there looking at all the science of it all.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's finding a post that's got a human connection. And it's a really tricky balance. So I sit there thinking, I don't know. I really don't know. I've been doing this posting a lot more seriously for the last year and a half. It still doesn't make any sense to me. Why? I've said to ChatGPT, this is my most popular post, try and replicate it. And it just never does.
Yeah. I tagged Allie K. Miller, who's one of the 150 women statues that If Then She Can did as a nonprofit in Texas. And I tagged, I don't know, maybe 20 other of the women who were made into statues. And this one post with Allie K. Miller just blew up. Then I realized she has over 1 million followers on LinkedIn. So, you think of things even like that, like you tag somebody that has a ton of followers with something that they've done, sometimes something blows up, and that, that may be the only reason. It may not be the reason, but
here's what I did. Here's what I did. I took your, what you just asked me about, and I said, how would I tailor a LinkedIn post based on the data in the last response? Can you provide an example of an engaging post with hashtags? And so it walks me through it. It actually supposed to put the headline, the body, and then what it's going to do, and then why it works. Gives me the hashtags.
I was going to say, Dan, you're real good at that, tagging other people. I can say I learned that from you. I still don't do it as often as you, but I definitely learned that from you. And I remember, Paul, going back to your Lego image, mentoring a couple of young folks from Nigeria, and they had great blog posts, but I share with them, add an image. Image says, 1,000 words. That the more unique and captivating your image is going to bring people to read it.
True.
Right. And sometimes you definitely the image, and it goes back to from where I do videos as well. It comes back to what I've learned with your thumbnails, with your videos, and with the on LinkedIn. That's where we post the most. The image says 1,000 words, and based on the images is what bring people to read it. And Paul, I can say that I can vouch that, because that's what brings me to read your post. Is that you capture me as soon as I see the image. Now I'm interested in the details. So what you're doing right now, continue it, because you got my attention.
Yeah.
Christina does all the images.
Even before I met you, right? Before we met, like I said, I've noticed you here lately with all these wonderful posts. It's the image and the message is what brings people to it. One of the things that I kept saying, what am I doing wrong? Because you get a lot of people to respond and engage with you on your post. I do get people to, like it or whatever, but they're not commenting or sharing their thoughts about it. You are doing that very well. So tipping my head off to you and Christina.
That's because I'm using the classic Outlook. I think that's.
Oh, when you get AI to say that,
Ouch.
I'll believe it. When you get AI to say it, I'll believe it.
Ouch.
Oh, I'm old school. No, but Teresa, maybe we do a session together and we start looking at, and I can start generating pictures for you.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
So we'll have a chat. We'll meet next week and we'll get some posts together.
I love the event that you and I did. Like I said, I love the real Outlook, and I came back with the
That was on
Outlook.
Lance's.
But yeah, it was on Lance's show.
Yeah.
But I thought about in August here in the US, it's Twins month. And I thought that'd be a good opportunity that you and I do something that, you know, during the twin week. It's a big thing here.
You don't want to do a session comparing the two Outlooks because it's not fair. Yours is not fully grown yet.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
There's features that we can do that you can't do.
Yeah, it's
Not
grandma and grandbaby. It's grandma and grandbaby. Grandpa.
I think it's. I think it's. Yeah. Well, we'll find out. Maybe the battle of the Outlooks.
There you go.
Guys, I want to thank you for letting me join you in this session. It's been amazing again. Are we? Is Frank back on Saturday? Is he?
Yeah, I believe Frank just had a 1 week.
Has it got a break?
Travel or conflict. So
okay.
Frank normally keeps this to an hour just because of logistics, and he has things going on afterwards.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stop us from going longer, but we just need somebody that can stick around. So I have a conflict here coming up as well. But thank you all. If you're interested in joining us, the offer still stands to reach out to Frank or Teresa or Paul or Lance or Stephen. Any of us can get you kind of involved in this community. And if you're not familiar with StreamYard, it's just browser based, very easy to use. You can even use it from your phone. It's not as easy, I would say, to use from your phone, but theoretically, when I'm traveling, I could possibly just come in and make sure that it's going out to my social channels by connecting from my phone if I'm out and about. But thanks everybody for attending, and
thank you.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Will do. See you, friends.
Yeah.
Bye everyone.
Cheers.